Hi everyone, welcome to Danny's Corner on another video. This is the third part of what is woke, and what I'm trying to do with these videos as well as with the other videos that I have made is to have people be made aware of blindness and the other disabilities and how they affect somebody like me on a daily basis. And certainly this includes politics, socially, personally, and we can't escape all of those things. And I think a lot of times, because our voice is not heard, we tend to get left out from conversations across America, regardless if it's in public, at debates with politicians, or just in general. So I had left with two things in the previous video. The first one was I said how people like me were getting oppressed and discriminated against, segregated, based on something like money. As I told you before, years ago, there was a judge that said that making money accessible for blind or partially sighted individuals was a thing that should happen. So U.S. money should be accessible and usable by those individuals. At that time, I had a radio show. I was in college and I was studying to be a broadcaster, and I was doing a similar show such as this one that was heard across campus, and I will talk about the same topics that I talk about here. And I remember agreeing with the judge, and I said, finally, somebody gets it. Because how do I know that somebody's not tricking me? How do I know that somebody is giving me the correct change or not? I can identify coins, which I will show you on another video, but I'm not able to know what money is. Only when I know what a certain denomination is when I can do certain things to keep track of the money that I have. But I don't know what denomination a certain dollar bill is. If somebody just were to hand me a 1, a 5, or a 10, and again, I have to trust that person. Every time that somebody hands me money, I have to trust a complete stranger to tell me if what he or she is giving me is the correct amount of money. Just think about that for a bit. It would be easy to fool somebody like me into giving me a $1 bill instead of a $5 bill. Yes, I know nowadays there are applications on your phone. There are dollar bill readers that will read the money for you. But that's an extra step that a person has to take and able to know what money he or she is holding. And depending on the way that you're holding it, that bill reader or that money identifier might not work. Because you not only do you not know what if that's a 1 or a 5 or a 10, we don't know if we're holding it backwards or not. So anyway, the George W. Bush administration said, oh, they don't need to the money doesn't need to be made accessible for blind people. They have bill readers, they have credit cards, they have other ways to know, to tell the money apart. And one of the organizations that agreed with them, ironically, was the NFB, or National Federation of the Blind, stating the same thing. And as I said before, yes, we've had those tools for a long time. But what we were advocating for was we have the same right as an American citizen to know what money we're holding. Why should we be segregated to use other technology when other people can do both? They can use credit cards as well, but they can also use the own money. And you say, well, you might say, just as the Bush administration as well as the National Federation of the Blind said, this is going to cost a lot of money in the long run. Do you know how much money we're spending with the war with Ukraine and Russia? Do you know how much money we have spent on helping Israel with Hamas? Do you know how much money was spent on the war in Iraq? What about Afghanistan? What about the other wars that we have spent money on? What about the other things that we have spent money on? If we were to combine all of those things together, what we are saying essentially is that all of those things are worthy of our money, spending our money. But as a blind community, you guys are not worth our time. We have money, we just don't want to give it to you. We just don't want to help you out. And when and if we do it, it's going to be by force, not by choice. So as I mentioned, or as I asked in my previous video, you think that's not being oppressed? You think that's not suffering from systemic ableism or prejudice attitudes? That's where the word woke comes in. We do not have a victim mentality as some on the right may want you to think. These are real experiences coming from real people. And just because you may not hear about them, just because you have not experienced being blind or being around a blind person, so your mind cannot conceive of these things happening, doesn't mean that they don't happen. I'm going to make one last video on this, and hopefully by then it's going to be clear to you. And if it's not, then I don't know what to tell you. If you have enjoyed this video and would like to subscribe, please do so. Also share, like, and give a comment or a suggestion. I would greatly appreciate it. These kind of topics are really hard for me because they are close to my heart. And only those of us who have disabilities know what we go through. Nobody else does. Nobody else seems to care. And people just laugh it off. Some people may click away from this video. And it is only when they have to experience something as a disability, when they have to experience something as poverty or what have you that are related to when it comes to people with disabilities, it is only that they finally realize, oh, this person was actually speaking the truth. It's sad that we have to get there and able for us to believe something. Thank you for joining me. I'll talk to you next time.